Death Note has a lot of highly intelligent characters, but how smart is Light Yagami? Now, we know Light Yagami was the top student in his school, as well as in all of Japan. Doing good in school just came easy to him. Light Yagami has a very logical approach to things. He's careful and cautious. He's somebody who will say the truth but won't fully speak his mind about some things in front of others to keep himself safe, as well as not make enemies or be seen as suspicious. One big part of Light's intelligence is how open-minded he is. Because when he first met Ryuk, at first, the first few seconds, he was a bit scared and cut off. However, he quickly adjusted, accepted what was happening, and approached it very logically and confidently, while many others would have been way too scared and shocked to think logically about the situation that fast. That's another thing about Light Yagami. He's a very fast thinker, also at accepting reality, which makes him good at adapting. Light Yagami is never afraid or thinks he's gonna be beat. He's very confident, which is justified by his very high intelligence, and obviously having an approach where you're so confident about everything and you believe so much in yourself is gonna aid you and help you even become more intelligent and dealing with things without problems coming up affecting you emotionally. Ray Penber was the FBI agent who was looking for Kira and watching over Light. Light eventually convinced him he wasn't Kira, managed to go ahead and use him to his advantage, forcing him to give information on the police or else he would take his life, which he ended up doing. Ray Penber had a fiancée, Naomi Misara, who was in the past an FBI agent, and she was obsessed with finding Kira because she suspected Kira was the one who took out her husband. Now, when she meets Light, Light tries to convince her that the police won't talk to her and she can't speak to L. However, she knows it might not work, but she wants to give it a chance. With everything Light's saying to her, she becomes suspicious that he knows so much, and he decides to pretend and tell her that he's part of the investigation with L on finding Kira, because when she told him her name, she gave a fake one, and he used her knowing this to his leverage, validating her and acting like he's impressed with her, so he wants her to join the Kira case with them. And then she ended up giving the real name when he asks for some type of identification, which of course he uses to his advantage so that the information she has doesn't get to the police, as well as the misinformation he told her. He writes down her name and takes her life. Light's acting ability and ability to lie so convincingly is highly impressive, mixed with his ability to think quickly, adapting to the situation he was in, which was making it hard to get some type of identification. He did a great job figuring things out and putting an end to Naomi Misara. This may be a little bit debatable online. However, Light Yagami's estimated IQ would be in the range of 210 to 220. Once L reveals himself to Light, Light reacts very calmly and like the way if Light Yagami had nothing to do with being Kira would react, reacting like the Light Yagami that is consistently being portrayed, not panicking, but thanking L for working on the investigation with his father, immediately being a very intelligent approach to not be suspected. The entire time he was hanging out with L at school, he was able to act at times and moments in ways of everything he did and said to not be suspected as Kira, showing L's approach and that L wasn't able to outsmart him. Light's reasoning is very good. He's able to find the answer to things and solve problems of high difficulty, which L was impressed by. Actually, the reason L suspected Light was Kira is because he believed Light was so intelligent to the point where he would play it off like this. However, even that he was the only one capable of being Kira due to how perfect and intelligent Light had acted as Kira, which just shows even L was impressed with Light's intelligence and knew he was superior to everyone else. But one of the smartest things Light did was getting rid of the Death Note and forgetting about it, so he would have acted without even knowing he was Kira because he didn't remember, which, if anything, would go in his favor because he has less likely of a chance to slip up and make L believe he's Kira. He ends up getting the Death Note in Higachi's hands, who goes on to do the killings and take Kira's place with Light, no longer working as Kira. And it's set up perfectly because when he's caught, Light would touch the notebook like he did, remember everything, and then write down Higachi's name, taking him out and making sure no information gets out from Higachi that won't be in Light's favor. The whole setup for this to happen was just so impressively planned out by Light. In comparison to most individuals, it shows his intelligence is very elite and exceptional. The way Light always acted perfectly to L without giving himself out to be Kira when L was trying every tactic to make him more suspicious or give some hint or details to use against him. But Light always reacted and played out as if he wasn't Kira and was not suspicious in L's mind. You even have to remember that Light was held back by Misa, who made it very difficult for Light and made them even more suspected. Misa being someone who was the second Kira, and it was inconvenient for Light. However, he found ways to work around this and try to use Misa to his advantage, as well as prevent her from making mistakes that would get them caught, or letting information get out there that would not work in their favor and give the police and L something more to work with. Because the thing is, Light pretty much did everything perfectly. The only mistakes that were ever really on his side were only from Misa or Mikami. And with Light's mindset and how he's always improving, he was only becoming smarter. He was so smart to the point where he lost at the end, not even because of one of his own mistakes. However, due to that of Miyakami and the writer's inconsistent conclusion of Light's loss of representing him and Miyakami just to have Light lose for the end of the story. The entire time during Death Note, Light, you could argue, did everything perfectly. Therefore, if he became the god of the new world, he very well could have been unstoppable. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.